Hey everyone, it's Matt with Surf City TCGs here, back with a third video in my series where I talk about Miss Bumbleflower, the Peace Offering Precon from Bloomburrow set, and a league I'm playing in which we are allowed a specific set of upgrades every week. So if you didn't catch the first two videos in the series and you want to get caught up, I will provide the links for both of those here. So check those out first. But if you have been following along, then you'll know that I just played my week 3 game last night at my LGS, and for the first time I won. Yay! So I did, the first week with the unupgraded precons, the winner was Zinnia, the Jeskai deck, and then last week the winner was the Squirrels, Hazel. And then this week was a pretty resounding victory for me. Played out exactly as I wanted it to, where we sort of kind of just set up a board, started ramped quite a lot actually, and then just, kind of overwhelmed everyone. I ended up doing the final blow with commander damage on one player and hitting someone else with a huge Mana Gorger Hydra to one-shot them in the same turn. I almost was able to knock out the Bellow player the same turn as well, just attacking with all my random tokens and pumping them all with Jolriel. But I didn't quite get there that turn, but I was quite easily able to close it out the following turn. So felt really good. The deck really operated the way I wanted it to. Yeah, not much more to say. I think like it's feeling like it's in a really good place. I've sort of identified what weaknesses I feel like we still have or areas where I want to upgrade for the budget we have this week. So let's get right into that. So I've already taken the liberty of putting a bunch of cards in the sideboard and then moving them over to this separate deck list in Moxfield, um, just for the purposes of like showing the prices and being able to break out the cards into types and tags without having to put them in my main deck. Because as you can see, if I switch to types and tags here, it does categorize all the stuff in my main deck, but all the sideboard stuff doesn't. So I just went ahead and split that out into a new deck here, which we'll go into in a minute. But first I want to talk about just some notes and what we're looking to do this week and what our options are for this time. So for week 3, we are again allowed one free land, one fixing land, so we could take out any land from the deck, put in any land we want. So I'm going to talk about that. This week, for the first time, we're actually also allowed to add one free card of any value. So that's very exciting. Means I could, if I wanted, add a Mana Crypt. And, I own a Mana Crypt, but we said proxies are fine because Magic's expensive and not everyone has access to everything that I have, and we want this to be fair. I don't think I will be adding Mana Crypt, but it is an option, and I want to consider it. And then the other 10 cards, we're doing 10 cards maximum again, aside from those other two. And this time it's up to $20 maximum. First week was 10, second week was 15. Now we're doing 20 plus the free cards. So quite a lot of options this week, and I expect after this week's changes, the decks to start to be feeling quite powerful because already this game last night went so much faster than the other 2 weeks. So with these new changes and with one kind of heftier price tag card, I expect that to continue to get faster and faster. So what I'm looking for in the changes that I'm making this week are, I could still use more 1-drops. I added quite a few last time, but this deck really, really wants, 1 mana and 0 mana spells, because there's so many turns where like you really want to cast 2 spells but you just can't, especially like the turn you play Miss Bumbleflower. A lot of times like you won't end up with 4 mana exactly, just because that's how things worked out. You had to play a tapped land or you ramped, and whatever the case may be, you end up having like 1 spare mana. You don't really want to just cast like, or maybe even 2 spare mana, but you don't want to cast just 1 spell after you play Miss Bumbleflower. So a lot of times what I do in those cases is I'll play my spell first and then play her, which is a little counterintuitive, but I don't want to just play one spell, have someone draw a card, just so I can get a +1 counter on my creature and not get the draw 2 card effect by resolving her twice. You know, just to recap. Oh, right, it's the other list. Every time you cast a spell, you're having target opponent draw a card. That happens no matter what when she's out every time you play a spell. But the second time it happens, and you get a +1 counter on a creature and it gets flying. But the second time this resolves each turn, you also draw 2. So really the goal is make sure you're drawing that 2 every time. That then it mitigates the quote unquote group hug aspect of this effect, in that yes, you're giving your opponents cards, but you can pick the opponent who's going to benefit least from it, or who's the least threatening to you, or use politics or whatever you want to do. But you're at least getting parity in terms of the cards being drawn, and you're getting even more because you get the +1 counters, you get the flying till end of turn. So if you're not getting that 2 card effect every time you use her ability, you're going to slowly find yourself like falling out of your chances of winning that game because you're giving away card advantage. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that ever. There are plenty of times where I play a third, fourth, and fifth spell like in a turn because I just want to play more spells on my turn and I don't have enough instants. And that's another thing I'm going to talk about with the changes I want to make. So let's get back to my notes here. So definitely looking for more cheap spells with 0 and 1 drops. More counters would be very nice. Like, I was pretty well able to deal with the threats that I felt like were kind of existential, that if I didn't remove, I was in big trouble. But I had to be very careful and cautious with my removal because I don't have enough, I felt like, which is something I'm mentioning here too. But then some reactive, like, or you might call it proactive removal in the form of counter spells, felt like we could use more of that because there were plenty of times where I felt like I had plenty on board and I just wanted to be casting a couple spells a turn to get the card draws and to add counters and just let them deal with what I have before I overextended. And those are the exact scenarios where you want counter magic because you can just kind of sit there, play Drago, be smashing people in the face with a giant flying vigilant Miss Bumbleflower, and you just want to feel safe in having counter magic and knowing that like you can just wait and see and decide what threats are important enough to counter. So that's what I'm going to be looking for this week. More instants for sure, and ways to cast things at instant speed. So probably going to prioritize getting Leyline of Anticipation in the deck this week. I think it's a pretty critical card for this particular commander. Not to mention it's one of my favorite cards of all time. So I love playing at flash speed, and I want to be doing that all the time. Mana ramp seems pretty good. I always felt like I had a decent amount of mana, but I think a tiny bit more wouldn't not be amiss. So I'm gonna consider that at least. Exile effects. This is something that mainly is for Bellow. Bellow's really good. I feel like that maybe is the best commander for constructed. Like, if you wanted to just make a powerful deck and not worry about all of these rules that I'm doing and just like have a powerful deck that does a lot, I think Bellow is maybe where it's at in terms of that. The big weakness of Bellow, huge weakness actually, is that he's very vulnerable, right? Like, so you make all these giant, scary, indestructible enchantments, but if you can just remove Bellow, even bounce him, like, then all of a sudden all of their stuff is not alive anymore and it just loses all of his power. So that being said, targeting Bellow is not always what I want to be doing. First of all, because I don't find it fun to have my commander removed over and over, even though it's often the best play. But I also don't want to be doing that to others. I like to operate by the golden rule, and I think if I can find ways to deal with his non-commander threats, even though that's not necessarily quote-unquote optimal, that might be my preference. So I mean, I won't shy away from removing him if he's presenting a lethal threat or something, but I just don't want to do the optimal play of just blasting him to death every time he enters, because that just feels very unfun to me. So I do want like something that can affect his indestructible enchantment and artifacts when they're attacking me. And then the last two are kind of tied together. These decks are very permanent heavy. Everyone has huge boards, lots of stuff going on. I think we definitely want another board wipe of some kind. I don't exactly know what I want yet. I'm leaning pretty heavily toward Farewell. I think I discussed this in the last video. It's not a card I really love playing normally, but if it's just it's too perfect for this deck. This deck is not playing a lot of permanence in general. I'd say, especially relative to the other decks, we're just putting far more things on the board, and we're going a lot taller in general, like just building up, Voltron style, making a giant commander, making some big threats that can just get through for big chunks of damage, versus making a lot of tokens or playing a lot of mana rocks or enchantments. And in fact, even in terms of our ramp, a lot of it is not permanent based. So I think that really lends to Farewell being really good. And none of the decks are really doing much graveyard shenanigans. I think they're all pretty equal. But having the graveyard exile option is also nice, just in case someone like, Hazel, the squirrel deck, would be the one that I think it would be most useful for. But, it's just a nice option. You don't really always have to use it. So anyway, that's what I'm going to be looking to do with this week's changes. So let's just dive in. Save it. All right, so I have just everything considering now, and I've got 59 cards to start with, which is a lot, but I kind of just put everything I was possibly considering into this list here. So we're going to go ahead and go into the types and tags and talk about what we're thinking about adding. All right, so these are the types and tags of all of the cards that I'm considering for this week. I think what we'll do actually before we do this is just look at the expensive ad first. So as I mentioned, we're going to get one free card of any value. So let me take a look at the things I'm considering for that. I'm going to go to no grouping here, and we'll just sort by price and kind of look at the top end here, because I think this is going to help dictate what else we want to add depending on what we decide for this ad. So, a card like Damning Verdict. Let's talk about this one. This is an incredibly powerful one-sided board wipe that is so good in the stack. The other precons, Bellow, Hazel, Zinnia, are not really dealing in +1/+1 counters at all, or really any kind of counters. So this makes this kind of one-sided effect even more powerful, because we know, like, we're going to have full control over, what this is hitting. So I think getting this card added either this week or next week in some fashion is a pretty high priority, because it's just such a good card. That being said, $10 is a lot, but in theory, we've got $20 to work with this week. We could get this in our normal budget. So I think we're not going to spend our free card on this one. I don't know if we're going to do a free card again. I think, given how the discussions have been going with my play group, I wouldn't be surprised if we did another free card, but I'm not going to assume that. I'd much rather assume that we're not going to get it and then be pleasantly surprised if we do. So that being said, we're going to not use this as our free one. And, we could change what we're doing. Of course, nothing I say right now is locked in. Enlightened Tutor would be nice, but I don't think that this is really important. I just kind of threw on everything that I was thinking about. Polywog Prodigy. This is a card I've been wanting to add ever since the beginning. I was so, I mean, not annoyed. I know that they kind of just have to spread out the powerful money cards over all four precons, so they ended up putting this little frog wizard into the Zinnia deck, which, I mean, it's pretty bad in that deck, honestly, because Zinnia is, I think she's also a 1/3, if I'm not mistaken. So it's just like, and that deck's making a bunch of 1/1s. It's just like, this card is such a better fit in Miss Bumbleflower. I really wish it was in the main deck so I didn't have to spend all this money, and it's been going up every week. I think the Command Zone mentioned it as like one of the best cards in the set, and the price was already sort of creeping up, and now it's going up even more. So I don't expect it to maintain that price, but we'll see. It's possible it will. It does seem quite powerful. I mean, all it takes is a few counters on it for it to start to feel very much like a Mystic Remora, and we all know how good that card is. So I think adding this is high on my list, but I'm almost hoping like it'll come down at some point in the next couple weeks before we stop doing this league, but that's seeming pretty unlikely. That being said, I don't think, you know, what we're looking for is really more card draw. Of course, more card draw never hurts, but if we look at what were the goals, none of this is card draw, you know, like I think the deck is doing well on card draw. I pretty much yesterday always had a full hand, and I just, as much as I really want to add this card because like it's so good, because we can just add counters to it, and then it is really firing off very like all the time, right? I just don't know how important it is, and it's a high priority removal target, so I don't know. We'll come back to it. Burgeoning is super good in this deck. We always have a big hand. We can't always play all the lands we have. However, I did add last week the what's it called? It's the enchantment on the trail. So this is not as good as Burgeoning, not even close, but it does sort of perform a similar role, and I just don't know if it's worth spending our free slot on Burgeoning. It might be, honestly. This card is so good, especially in this deck. It's like so good. But you know, these are the two I'm really considering pretty heavily, and like we could add probably Force of Will to this list. I don't know if I think Force of Will is better than Fierce. It's a tough call. It probably is. Like, I know, you know, some of you are probably like, what, you know, thinking like, what is he thinking? Like, of course, Force of Will is better, right? But you know, in a game like this, where we're pretty much always having our commander out, is Force of Will better? Like, you need a blue card to pitch. We're not exactly flush on blue cards. Like, if we look at our colors, we've got 14 blue cards plus 6, so we have 20 blue cards. That's a good amount. Like, we're gonna have pitch fuel for Force, but Fierce works by itself. If you're in a top deck war and you draw a Fierce, like, you can play that. Draw a Force of Will, like, you could still hardcast it, but I don't know. To be honest, like, I'm probably gonna like defer this decision, because I think the card I'm leaning toward at this current time is Innkeeper's Talent. This is a card that I talked about pretty extensively in my Bloomburrow set review back when it was like a couple bucks, or like, you know, I think I talked about it when it was still pre-selling, and it was like $4, $5 maybe, and I was like, are people crazy? This card, it looks nuts. It's doubling season, but better. You can pay for it in installments. It does something right away. So for 2 mana, you get this powerful effect where you get to put a +1 counter on a creature every combat. So not only like do you get it right away, because you play it pre-combat main, you go to combat, you get your counter. And then that level 2, I think, is deceptively powerful. Ward 1, yeah, it's easy to pay 1. But it's not easy to remember that you need to leave a mana up to pay 1. And that's how you get people with this. Plus, it's just a psychological barrier. Like, sometimes people just won't target your thing with ward, even though they could and should. So, I quite like this card. I think one of the things that maybe I didn't think to list on here, but I was thinking is that we could use more protection spells. You know, counters work for that, but so do things like I've got Tamio Safekeeping in here, I think, as an option. I don't know where it is, but I'm pretty sure it's in here. So this helps with that, right? It gives a little bit of protection to our stuff with counters on it, which can make all the difference because, like, even if we don't assume opponents are going to misplay and forget about the word one, there's still you still have the ability to drop this, level it up right away, and then, like, if they don't respond to you leveling it up, which they might not want to do, then all of a sudden your stuff has ward one, and if they're tapped out, they can't target it anymore, right? Or if they have like just one mana up for Swords to Plowshares, for example, like they have to make that decision as soon as you level this up, versus, you know, when they know you're attacking them, which is when they might want to use it, right? Because like if you have a swords and there are a lot of threats on the board and nothing's attacking you, you're not just going to want to throw it out. You're going to want to wait so you can be reactive with it to kind of like say, okay, that's coming at me. I don't want to take 12 right now. I'm going to swords it. But Innkeeper's Talent really helps you get around them doing that. Plus, one thing I want to talk about this card, especially with regard to this deck, is that there are a lot of times, that it happened yesterday quite often, where I cast my 2 spells on my turn, and then I had lots of mana up still. You know, I would have loved to just hold up that mana for instance on my opponent's turns, but I just didn't have any instants I could play, or ones that were conditional that I wasn't sure I could play. So having a mana sink like this to use that extra mana when I know that I don't have plays on their turn is very, very powerful. And getting this to level 4 and turning it into basically a doubling season is ultra strong, because we already have a couple of counter increaser effects in the deck. Hardened Scales is one of them, and I don't know if we're running any others. Let's just check, because the more of those we have, the better effects like this get. They do work better. You know, the more you have, the better. Oh, we also have Kami. So Kami is a Hardened Scales effect. So what I'm thinking is this week we look to add like something like Innkeeper's Talent, maybe also Ozolith the Shattered Spire, which is $7. It's a little pricey. I'm just gonna make sure we're on cheapest. Yeah, can't. This card got expensive. I didn't realize it was this much, but it still may be worth getting it in there, because, you know, if we've got these effects plus the Innkeeper's Talent on level 3, it, you know, it's a compounding effect, and it's even more powerful in that case. You know, Innkeeper's Talent also doubles counters, other kinds of counters, so experience counters, you know, poison counters if we wanted to go the route of giving our opponents poison, which I'm not going to do, but it is a way you could go. And Planeswalkers will enter with double the loyalty counters, and they will get more loyalty counters when you plus them. So we only have one Planeswalker right now, which is the Tamio Field Researcher, I think, that came with the Precon, but it's something that we could consider also, like, what Planeswalkers are very powerful if their counters double, and you could potentially ult them right away. So I might just take a look at that. I don't want to spend a ton of time because I already have a lot to go through here, but you know how I do. So I think I'm leaning towards Innkeeper's Talent. I really like this card. I ended up picking up like 10 of them. I wish I had gotten more, but I got 10 of them for like under $2, and I resold all, but I kept 2 pre-release foils for myself. And yeah, I mean, that's been a huge win for me. I made like $20 each times $80 on that investment. So good card. I don't see it going down really from where it's at. Maybe like a little bit. It's only a rare, so it's not that difficult to open, and a lot will be opened, but it's so good that I guess it's making waves in standard right now. I heard about some combo with Vraska, where people are just kind of winning really fast. So it could, you know, if you want to wait, if you didn't pick one up and you want to wait, I've been hearing, trust me, I'm not an expert on non-EDH modes, but or formats rather, but it is possible from what I've been hearing that either this or another piece related to this will get banned. And if so, the price, you could see a price dip on this. All right, so let's just get this added to the deck. We can always switch it out later. Actually, I'm gonna put it in the sideboard of the deck just so it doesn't count toward the price, since we're using that as a free one probably. And then let's just look at the lands real quick. I think I already know what land I'm gonna add. Just to recap, in previous weeks I added 2 shocks, the 2 green shocks. So I think I'm leaning toward the Windswept Heath this time, given that it can get both of these. And it is our, I think our, well, I mean, green's almost certainly our primary color, yeah, 40%. And then these are pretty close. So I think in general, I like the option of Windswept Heath because you can get all 3 colors. So let's get that added. And I would have added this last week, but we only had 2 shock lands last week. And then, you know, I could have gotten whatever the shitty land is that comes in it. Prairie Stream, yeah. So like this is fetchable, but I don't know, I plan to cut this land eventually, probably. I may not. We'll see if I end up having slots available. I think this land is okay. It could come in untapped. We have 12 basics, so yeah. Anyway, I think we're going to add Windswept Heath, so let's put that in the sideboard too. You know, and it is a consideration like that we could add something like Misty Rainforest instead, since Windswept Heath is only $8. Wow, that is crazy. So, tangential side note, if you don't have copies of the fetch lands, do yourself a favor and get those now. These lands are the best lands ever printed, the best lands that will ever be printed. They're the only 5-color comes into play untapped lands that don't have a like big drawback like City of Brass or Mana Confluence. They can fetch any land, a land of any color, because it can get any forest card or plains card. And as we just looked at, these shock lands, look at that, they're forest island, they're forest plains. There are all 10 of these, right? So your forest can be a forest swamp, it can be a forest mountain, it can be a forest island, etc., etc. And the original dual lands, not that many people have them, are the same way. So like Tundra is, I don't think it says it on here, but if you read the text and if you look at the errata, you'll see counts as both islands and plains. they pluralized islands for some reason. It's pretty funny. So yeah, if you didn't know that, like, no problem, but these lands are the best lands in the game. They're better than the original dual lands because they can get a land of any color, and they just add so much consistency and power to your decks. Like, you'll never want to go back to not playing these. So do yourself a favor, pick up copies now, especially of the allied color ones, which are the ones that just got reprinted in Modern Horizons. The enemy color ones I think are a little pricey right now, so just maybe wait on those if you don't have them. But all of the allied color ones, so white green, white blue, blue black, blue white, black red, black blue, green black, green red. I think those are all of them. So the allied color fetch lands, just for your reference, are Windswept Heath, Flooded Strand, Polluted Delta, Bloodstained Mire, and Wooded Foothills. So if you don't have copies of these, highly recommend you get them now. You're never going to see them this low ever again, probably in your life. So you will kick yourself if you don't get these now. This is probably the cheapest one, so not all of them are going to be this inexpensive, just fair warning. But think Delta is probably the most expensive, maybe Bloodstained Mire. Let's just see. I don't want to spend too much time digressing here, but okay. Yeah, these are a steal. If this is in any way in your budget, get yourself a copy of these. One of each is plenty. You can switch them between decks, you can proxy the others. It feels like, I know a lot of people like to proxy, but like it feels really good to have the real cards, especially if you have one. It doesn't feel as like icky to proxy if you can say like I have one, so like I don't mind proxying it. It's just like easier than switching it out between 10 different decks. So anyway, I'm not going to belabor this any longer. Let's remove these. So I think we're going to go with these two for free cards. That means let's take a look at what's left. Okay, so let's just take a quick glance at our goals again. So I think 1-drops, counter spells. So let's look at counter spells first, because I think that is, we're going to be the most limited in our options in that area. So let's take a look at that first. How many counters do we have right now? We have 1, 2, 3, long reverse pull. This is like a hard counter if you gift a card, so I actually don't mind this card. I probably will not remove it. If I were upgrading this deck for real and I had an infinite budget, infinite card slots, I would definitely remove this and add just a regular counter spell. It's just strictly better than this, and it's not very expensive, right? Regular counter spell is $1. So this, I won't say it's strictly better, because there are some political subtleties and benefits to a card like this where you can gift a card, but in general, like, counterspell is strictly better. So that doesn't mean we can't have both, though. Counterspell is the de facto, like, just excellent value, excellent rate. Something like Glendra Archmage is ultra strong in this deck, because the way, if you didn't know, the way persist works. So let's read the reminder text here. When this creature dies, if it had no -1 counters on it, return to the battlefield under its owner's control with a -1 counter on it. So if you play Glendra Archmage, someone tries to Swords to Plowshares it, you're like, I don't think so. I'll pay 1 blue, I'll sack it to counter that. It's a non-creature spell, so my guy doesn't get exiled, and then it will come back right away as a 1/1, meaning a 2/2 with a -1 counter on it. However, interesting little tidbit about -1 counters and +1 counters: they cannot exist on a permanent at the same time. They just automatically net each other out and cancel. So if your creature with a -1 counter on it has a +1 counter added somehow, it won't get a +1 counter. It will just wipe the -1 counter that it's on there, and it will wipe any number of -1 counters until it's at 0, and then it will start adding +1 counters. What this means is every time you cast a spell, you can put a +1 counter on a creature you control, like Glendra Archmage, for example. And if it had that -1 counter, you've just reset its ability to counter a non-creature spell for a single blue mana. So I think this is pretty high on our list to add. It's a little bit icky, having this way to sort of generate infinite counter spells is a little yikes, but who cares? Let's get them. All right, so I don't think we necessarily want to add 2 counters, but if I were to, it would probably be either Arcane Denial or Counterspell. Arcane Denial is great too. In fact, I run Arcane Denial in a lot more decks than I do Counterspell, just because I like the cost. Sometimes that double blue is pretty difficult, especially in a deck like this, so I think we are going to lean toward Arcane Denial. I would do Dovin's Veto, but I don't think we need it. I mean, really, Zinnia is the only blue deck, and to be honest, I haven't seen many, if any, counters out of him, so I think we'll go with the cheaper and better option in Arcane Denial. And we may end up cutting this, honestly, because I think Glendra is the top priority. All right, so we've achieved this goal, so let's take a look at the others. All right, so we're looking for more 1-drops potentially. We'll just keep that in mind as we look at the other stuff. We've done this, so let's strike that. For instance, we'll kind of look at these as just holistic. Maybe a piece of mana ramp. Ideally a 1-drop instant. I don't think such a thing exists, but you know, it's possible. Actually, Tithe is one of my favorites, but that's a $20 card, so I think we're not going to get there. So removal, exile effects, and sweepers. Okay, so I think what I'll start by doing is adding the cards, all the cards that I really want to add. So I think those are Farewell. So let's look at the board wipes. Farewell's not even here. So we want to get Farewell. Wow, is Farewell... Did I already add it? What's happening? Oh, this is the main decks. Jeez. Alright, board wipe. Here we go. Farewell. Let's get that in. I don't think Damning Verdict's going to make it this time. Wave Goodbye, though, is a pretty good imitation of Damning Verdict, especially against all these tokens. It's only $1.85. Yeah, let's get that in there. I definitely wouldn't mind adding 2 board wipes. So right now we're at $6, and this is only 2 cards in the main deck so far. No, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Oh, wait. I calculated this wrong. So we have to subtract the 33. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is just, I'm going to move these out of the sideboard so it's not counting them, because I made that mistake last time and it screwed me up. So I'm going to move these just to some other thing. Let's put them in the attraction deck. I don't really even know what that is. I think it's something to do with Infinity, but yeah, good. It's not counting toward our total now. So that's what we wanted. So we've got 1371 main deck right now with 4 cards. That would leave us 6 slots, $7.29 for 6 slots. That's not bad. And I'm not even like super sold on Arcane Denial. I think these 3 I almost certainly want in. And then I forget about Ozolith. I would love to get Ozolith in. I don't know if it's worth it. You know, it's the same thing as Hard Scales, but it costs an extra mana, and it's got this tap ability that we're gonna use sometimes that adds 2 counters to something. I mean, it adds 1, but then Ozolith itself adds an extra 1. Let's just put it in for now, and we'll probably end up removing this. This also seems like pretty pricey. I wonder if it will come down at all. This seems a little high. So I don't know if this is gonna make it this time. Other things, let's look at the instance, because we want more instance. Actually, one thing I want to add almost certainly is Leyline. So let's get that in. I think let's take out Ozolith. I think you're not going to make it this time, my friend. Okay, so I'm going to put Arcane Denial on the sideboard. So I'm going to leave in the sideboard the maybes. I think these 1, 2, 3, 4 cards I almost certainly want. And right now we are at 1555 minus 261 for the maybe Arcane Denial. All right, let's see what other instance we have, and just take a quick glance at this again. Maybe another ramp spell we should look for, and then we can look for some more removal, particularly with an emphasis on exile effects, or bounce. I think bounce is effective too. Like if you're bouncing a 6 mana enchantment that Bello played, like that's it's pretty close to removal. Like they have to replay a 6 mana enchantment. That's painful, right? All right, so let's look at the ramp. I'm going to go back to my types and tags to see what I have tagged as mana ramp. Okay, so Wild Growth would be great. I think this is a very good option. This is something I almost added last time, Viewpoint Synchronization. For 3 mana, you get 3 basics, basically. It requires it, so like, let's say we play Bumbleflower on 4, and next turn we go to turn 5, we drop a land, so we have 5 mana available. We play any 1 or 2 mana spell, give Miss Bumbleflower flying and a +1 counter, get in with her for 2 damage. People aren't going to remove her probably just to stop 2 damage, and they're not everyone's going to be able to block a flyer on turn 5. And then you follow up with this as your second spell. You draw 2 on cast, because that's the second time you triggered Bumbleflower, and then you get 3 lands into play. That feels really, really strong. Even though this is a sorcery, you're almost, I mean, you want to cast this at sorcerer speed anyway, which is for its free running, because you're not going to, even if you have Leyline of Anticipation, you don't want to cast this on an opponent's turn because you have to pay 5 mana for it, right? So I think we want to get this in this time. I'm gonna find it harder and harder to make room for adding something like this, but I really think it's worth it, and I like the power of this card in this deck. You know, I would love to get birds in, but I don't think we can afford it this time. Same goes with these. Open the Way. You know, I love this card, but I don't know. Let's add it. I might end up removing it. And then Nature's Lore is kind of a high priority too. We're gonna remove one or two of those. I think these Matadors could be good fillers. Same with the Wild Growth. I'd prefer to add a creature. Most of the time I'd say I prefer to add Wild Growth because it's just safer. But in this deck we have stuff like Communal Brewing, we have ways to put counters on creatures. I think I just really like having these 1-drops, because if you have communal Brewing in play with 4 counters, then it's like, okay, this isn't just a line of elves, it's a 5/5. And then I held off long enough, but we're definitely getting you in. Yes, you're my favorite. Also really still like Terrian Soul Cleaver. I really like Champion's Helm. There's too much stuff that I want to add. This we talked about last time, I still think is really good. All right. I'm just going to go through, because we're already at 12 now. I'm going to go through the rest of these, just skim through them, and kind of skip over the stuff that I think is not the highest priority this time. One of those things is not Shrieking Drake, because Shrieking Drake is nuts. It's like basically in this deck, it's blue mana to trigger Bumbleflower, and that's really, really good, because we just need, you know, I got a white main lion out in one of the games I posted a few days ago, and any of you who saw that video know how powerful effect like this is, just to be able to trigger Bumbleflower as many times as you want, because you can bounce itself. You can have it come in, it enters, it says, okay, return a creature you control to its owner's hand. That can be it itself. So if we have a Leyline of Anticipation out, this becomes totally bonkers. So I almost certainly want to get that added this time. Council 4 is a great card. I just don't think we need a 5-drop that draws cards. It's really good in this deck. I would add it if I was building this as a constructed deck, like not in this format. But I think we will not be able to make room for it this time. Haywire Might's really good. I want to consider it because it exiles. Really good against Bellow. Polywog, we can't make work this time. Ponder, I love it, but I think we want instance. Git Probe, maybe next time. It's just a little expensive, but I love it as a 0 mana spell. Same goes with Mistress Bauble. I think we're probably not going to add it this time, but I want to leave it here to consider. Copy Enchantment's one I really want to get in. Bella's always playing these juicy enchantments, and I just would love to make one of those for 3 mana. Seems real good. Ooh, Dismiss into Dream. I almost forgot about this. I kind of don't want to add this because I already am starting to feel like I'm the arch enemy, and like playing something like this would just like really make us very vulnerable. I think it's a very powerful effect. I just don't know if we need it right now. Same goes with Ghostly Prison. I think it's really good. I think really, really good. I will end up adding this at some point, I almost guarantee, but probably not this time. Alchemist Refuge, I think we'll skip for now, but maybe not. I would love to have some redundancy with our flash, but this does cost 2 mana every time you want to do that, so Leyline is much, much better. Alright, we're not adding these expensive stuff. Wow, Flawless Maneuvers more than I thought. How much is Flare? $3. Maybe we will consider this at some point. It's like the cheapest. Flare, $3. Yeah, not bad. Tamio safe. Wow, Tamio safekeeping is $3.50. Since when? This common. Wow, go through your bulk. Is that right? Hang on 1 second. Holy moly. I meant to pull some of my copies out and sell them. Okay. Well, forget you. Oh, since when is rapid hybridization cheaper than Pongify? I haven't seen that probably ever. Ooh, this card. This card got so cheap. It was like $5, $6 when it came out, and it's really good. Like, you get to exile 3 things, you know, potentially even something of yours if you want just a 2/2. Yeah, I might just throw this in. Seems great for 30 cents. Yes, please. Okay, so I think I talked about this. Ooh, I like this otherworldly gates too. Let's add that. I know I'm adding too many. It's okay. We'll make some real hard cuts soon. I do want to talk about these two again. I think I mentioned it before. Normally, I have a preference for Resculpt because it can hit artifacts, and notably the One Ring. Actually, like, you know, it's quite possible that any or all of my opponents will be adding the One Ring. I considered it, but I'm guessing they probably won't, and for the same reason I didn't, which is that we're all drawing lots of cards already from Bumbleflower, and I think that means all of us have to, you know, much less of a priority on card draw. Normally, when we're doing this, and in fact, like I think we're gonna do this again when what's it called, Duskmourn Commander decks come out. So then you'll see, if you watch this series again, that I'm going to put a very heavy emphasis on card draw and draw engines, but I haven't been doing that in this video series because Bumbleflower just does that for us, right? It's like right in the command zone. And it's the same reason I'm not like just jamming this card in as fast as possible, Danny Pink from Doctor Who, because, you know, this card is like just so powerful at this deck, but we just, I mean, as much as it would be nice to draw those extra cards, we just don't need them. Like I said, last night I had a hand of 7, 8, 9 cards, like pretty much all the time. I had a plethora of options of what to do and just not enough mana to do it. So that's a good spot to be in, but it also means we don't want to prioritize adding a card like this, even though it is so good in the deck. Whereas something like Burgeoning would really, really help. Maybe I'm convincing myself to add Burgeoning instead of Innkeepers, but probably not. I like, you know, Burgeoning is just a generically powerful card that is like really good, and I think this is narrow enough and like specific to what we're doing, and I like it. I like it for that reason. It feels more flavorful in this deck, and it's from this set, so you know that's one of the reasons that I like adding this that I didn't really talk about. All right, so you know, this is a toss-up. I think Reality Shift's significantly better in general in these decks because we're giving them a 2/2 instead of a 4/4, which honestly we don't care about that much because like we have a big fat ass 1/5 blocker that gets even bigger all the time, has vigilance. Given that, and given that we can hit a like pesky artifact if we needed to, I think I'm leaning toward a resculpt, so let's put that in. And then these other things, like this is, I did want some more like enchantment or artifact removal, especially enchantment removal, but I think, you know, given that we added farewell, that might be sufficient. And, you know, we're adding some bounce. Like, it's sorcery speed, but if we have a ley line out, we can bounce all of Bellow's enchantments with this, and that has to feel good. I mean, actually, Bellow has some ways to add +1 counters. Like, they have that thing where every creature they play explores. But if we have Wave Goodbye, we might prioritize removing the thing that explores because we know it will counter our Wave Goodbye a little bit. So I'm just going to skim through the rest of this, make sure there's nothing major. I think let's just add this. All right, let's stick with this for now. I think the rest of this looks fine. So we've got how many? We've got 19 main deck right now at $29. And that counts the Arcane Denial. Let's just put the Arcane Denial here. Okay, so we've got 20 main deck, $29. We have to cut 10 cards and $9.29. So what do we do? Well, Alchemist Refuge, you're gonna have to wait till next time, I think. Final Ledger we want. Kutzil I don't think we need yet. Although, like, I do want to add this pretty soon, because just having the protection on your turn of them not being able to cast spells seems really good, especially now that they're going to be on guard next week for, like, sudden alpha strikes or commander damage death from me. So I would not at all be surprised if they add some removal for big creatures to kind of counter me. So I do want to anticipate that a little bit in advance. Kutzil doesn't really help with that, because if I already have him out, then they're either just going to use their removal before it's my turn, or if I play it, they're going to remove in response, right? So this is more helpful as like something you slam. If they have like an in combat effect, they can't do it. I'm talking myself out of Kutzil right now, but I think, you know, that is a high priority to add in the future. All right, Constable is a maybe. I do like that it's quite cheap. We might need that, so let's just leave that for now. I think we want to get this in. I think we want to get this in. I think we do not need Nature's Lore. I mean, we would love it, but we can't have everything this time. Let's open the way out for now, sadly. All right, so Soul Cleaver, as much as I love it, I think if it had anything but Vigilance, normally I love the Vigilance, one of the reasons I love this card, but I think given that our commander already has Vigilance, it's just not, I'd rather have Champion's Fallen right now, and that's something that I would rarely say. I don't think this card is very good normally, but I think it is very good in this deck. So yeah, I think we want to add this. I like this for 60 cents especially. All right, so we are down to 5 cuts left, and oh, we're already at price. Okay. Okay. Well, close at least. So 5 cuts. So let's say we cut Constable of the Realm, even though I'm not sure about that. Let's just cut everything that we want to, and then figure out the price later. Okay, so let's go to types and tags. I want to add this, not just because I love it and it's a pet card, but because it is very good with the ley line. Extremely good, right? And the fact that we're adding more instants makes this better and better. Plus, it's a pet card, and I just want to add it, deal with it. Okay, so that's coming in, even though we don't need it as a draw engine, we do need it as like an untapper. That's where its power really comes from in this deck. Okay, so we do have a lot of removal, so I think like we can remove the Constable just because it's a little hefty on the cost. I think we can remove one of these two. Which one? Or maybe Rapid. No, we do want more cheap stuff. Let's look at mana value. What do we have here? Okay, so we do have too many 4s. You know, I never draw Leyline in my opener. I'm exaggerating, but like I expect to pay 4 for this. We don't want to add 4/4 drops is my point, and I think that means you're out for now. 3 is more than I would like. In fact, I wonder if we could fit Damning Verdict in somehow instead of this. Probably not, right? Damning Verdict, Farewell, and Glenlenger's already like $20. Yeah, that seems like it's not going to happen. So let's just keep the Wave Goodbye. I wonder if we could just afford to not have this, given that we're already adding another Farewell. The thing that I haven't considered yet is what we're going to remove. Uh-oh, why's this 1-on-1? Screwed something up. I'll fix it in a minute. But, you know, I think maybe it would have been smarter to start with the removes so we would know what made sense to add. But, oh well, I'm already in it now. Too bad. Alright, so we have to cut 3 more cards. Let's... Wave Goodbye is so good. Let's cut Arcane Denial. I just like this. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Let's cut Resculpt. Alright, so now we're 11 at 1760, meaning we have 240 extra plus whatever card we take out. So that means if, for example, we were to take out Farewell, which I'm not going to do, but if we did, that means we would be at 10, so we'd have to cut one more card, but we would have like $8 to add. Meaning I could like add something really more expensive, like Ozolith. Oh, one thing that I missed that I would consider, I don't see it here actually. Oh, Submerge, I have it at 0. Yeah, Submerge would be really nice. It's just a basically 0 mana removal spell that, you know, blanks a card draw for them. Really, really strong. In fact, I had it in my ads last week and I ended up swapping it a lot at the last minute for some other stuff. Let's see if we can't get this in. And then maybe cut something like Rapid Hybridization. This is already, we've got 1, 2, 3 pieces of removal we're adding, right? Submerge, Rapid, Haywire Might. I like all 3 of those. I like the Wave Goodbye, I like the Farewell. What if we were to cut... I really don't want to cut this, but maybe we need to right now. You know, the Shrieking Drake is sort of the same as the Otherworldly Gaze in that it's just a cheap spell. Like, what it does is not that relevant. Although, Otherworldly Gaze, like I mentioned this last time, I think this card is way underrated. I might just start throwing this in, like, a ton of my blue decks because I think it's... The power of this card is deceptive. Okay, we're at 11 now, 21.74. So if I were to cut a $1.74 card, then we'd be there. Rapid Hybrid's $1.76. Oh my god, that's just too perfect, isn't it? In the interest of just ending this before it's been like 100 hours, I might just go with this. And then we're at 1998. That's really 10 cards. These are the attractions. I kind of love it. We're locking it in. We're locking it in, boys. All right. Let's go bulk edit. We're going to copy all this. We're going to bulk edit here. Place all that. And then we want to also grab the attraction deck. Those. Boom. Let's update to cheapest. And we should be good. So if we take calculator. So 5324, we subtract 2466 for Innkeeper's Talent, and this one's from 860. Boom. Looks good to me. Before I move on, let me just... Right, so I added the Windswept Heath and the Innkeeper's Talent. So let's take out a land first for the Windswept Heath. I think types and tags. So we're not touching the basics. I like the check lands. Reliquary is good. I don't love these fast lands in Commander, but they're better than other lands we have. I also don't love these lands, but again, they're untapped lands, so I'm not taking them out when we still have garbage lands like these temples and even this Triome. And don't we have... Oh, we have fetches, right? Yeah, these. I don't think these do anything for us, like in terms of like the shuffle doesn't matter. Trying to think if that's true. We're not really playing anything off the top or knowing what's on top. Like, yeah, I think these are the worst. Although the temples are a close call. I don't like the temples. I do like that these can get any color and the temples are like specific. So I think we'll cut the temples. So one of the temples, maybe more than one. I mean, given that we're going to probably be lowering the curve with these ads. Like if we just look at total mana value of the ads, this might be helpful actually. We've got one. I'm going to count this as 0 because this is literally always going to be 0. It just requires that we have an island and someone has a forest. And there are 2 different green decks, so someone's going to have a forest, and it's extremely likely that we're going to have an island. So this is 0, 1, 2, 5. I'm going to count this as 3 also. I think that's reasonable. 8, 12. I'm going to count this as 4, I guess. 16, 20, 32 mana value is what we're adding. So I think I will just jot that down so I don't forget. And then, yeah, so my point is, like, it's possible that we'll decide to remove another land, although I'm not sure if I want to remove too many more lands. Maybe only, like, 1 more. So let's just add all 10 of these first so we can see what our colors look like with these ads. So let's take all the sideboard and just drop them in the main. So we should have now, yeah, 112 because it's the 10 cards plus the free land and the free spell. So now let's look at our colors. Okay, so we're pretty even. That's kind of nice. Never had a deck that that in my memory that has been so close on all 3 colors. So I think what we want to do is look at how our 1 and 2 drops look, because that's going to dictate like which lands we're most eager to have early game, like, and which of these spells we're actually like wanting to play early. So obviously the elves is something we want to play as soon as possible. Same with Pick Your Poison, same with Preordain. Swords and Path, probably not, right? We're not, even though they're 1 drops, it's unlikely we're going to be using these super early. These are things we want to get out early. So I'm really seeing a lot of blue and green. I think those are what I would consider our like primary early turn colors, at least for 1 drops. Let's look at 2 drops. Coiling Oracle really adds to that blue-green like desire to have. Incubation Druid, Jolriel. We're probably going to remove this. Dusk Legion is not necessarily a turn 2 play, although it's possible. Green for sure. I mean, I could have told you that. And blue. Yeah, I mean, this is coming out of prints. Okay, so 100% green, blue. White is our tertiary color for sure. And right now we've got 53, 50, 53. So we've got too much white also already. We have the same amount of white as we do green, but green makes up more of the deck. So we definitely want to remove white mana production. So let's get out the Temple of... We want to remove the Temple, this one, I think, because the other white land makes green, and that's more important. So let's get rid of Temple of Enlightenment. I'm going to put it in the sideboard just so I can keep track of the stuff I removed. All right, so that's land. So we're at 37 again. Yep. And then, so now we just need to look at stuff we want to cut. So I suppose we'll look at the 3 main categories of the deck, which I've talked about before. Those are mana and ramp, card draw, and removal / board wipes. So let's look at how those are looking right now. 14 mana ramp sources. I like to run more than this in most decks. Like, I like to run 15, maybe even 20. I really don't want to remove any of these unless I feel like they're awful. And looking through this list, I do not see any that look awful. I really like Selvala. This card's overperformed for me, and the rest of these are great. So we're not touching the mana ramp. Board wipes. 5 is a lot. So let's see how we feel about these. I mean, Realm Cloak Giant, I just kind of hate this card, so let's get it out of here. I think this is a nice suite of border wipes. I'm happy with this. And then, yeah, Perplexing Test is like, I don't know, like the ability to bounce all tokens at instant speed seems pretty good. So I don't think I'm quite ready to remove this. I have not drawn it or played it yet. So I would like to like test it out at least once if possible. You know, if we get another week or 2 along, I still haven't drawn it, I might end up cutting it, because why isn't it showing up if it's so good? That logic makes sense, right? Right. Okay, draw. So I do think cutting draw is not a terrible idea here for the reasons I've already stated. Like, we've got a draw engine in the command zone. So having draw engines outside of the command zone are not nearly as important. That being said, something like Ageless Insight, which amplifies our command zone draw engine, very, very strong. Same thing with effects like Toski, which we didn't add this time, but I could be adding in the future, or Dusk Legion Duelist, which works phenomenally well with our commander. Same goes for Nadu. So what I think we're going to do is, Wizard class, I don't love it, but I think it's okay. And I do like the class cards because, like I said, we need mana sync sometimes. Coiling Oracle, it's fine. I don't think we're going to cut it now, but this card, I'm not lucky enough to play this card. Mindstone's fine. Tempt with Bunnies. This card just, I mean, I get it, it's flavorful, but like, don't love it. Let's get it out of here. Trisk File. I'm on the fence about this one because, like, this can win us games that like no other card could, and it can kind of do it out of nowhere, especially now that we're adding Flash. I think I'm gonna leave it in for now. I would like to at least threaten a win with this once, if not actually get a win with my pod before I cut this. And I think as soon as that happens, I'm ready to cut it, because then they're going to have to be worried about it, and it won't necessarily, like, it won't even be in the deck, you know? So it's like a phantom threat, which could be bad, but like that that problem is going to exist regardless of whether it's in the deck or not, unless I like insist that I removed it and like tell them. But still, they might just kind of always be on guard about this sort of win. So I think, we'll come back to it. Maybe I'll cut it, but I think I want to keep it. Tamio, I don't want to cut because, first of all, she's so cute. Look at her. Second of all, it's better than I thought. Actually, I'm dumb and didn't even realize that like I could use this on my own creatures, which, like, don't ask me why. It's like not like it is confusing or anything. But I thought I could only use it on opponent's creatures for the longest time, and then I finally realized, like, oh wow, that's actually really good with Bumbleflower because she gets in so easily. So I like this. I like all these cards. I don't really want to cut any of them. If I were to say any right now, it would be like Shiska Decavile, maybe Coiling Oracle, maybe Wizard Glass. The rest I like. Alright, these I'm happy with. Right, control. This card's pretty cool because, like, I've only cast it once, but I gained like 20 life off it, so I didn't even use it as a fog though. I think a board wipe was happening maybe, and I was like, okay, I can gain 20, that seems worth it. So I don't know if I'm ready to cut that. Plus it's an instant. I just don't really want to cut instants. Broken Wings, not quite. Like, I do like the flexibility of this card, even though it's like not a good rate. It is an instant, just not there yet. Rich Protection. I just don't know about this card. I really don't know what to say, except I just don't know about this card. I think we need to find some cuts. We're still at 109, and I've been through a lot of cards so far. I'm going to switch over to, now that we're done looking at the categories, I'm just going to switch to regular types, and I'm going to just kind of go through everything. So Tamio, we like. I'm going to put everything that I'm even considering in the sideboard, and then I'll add stuff back. So we're considering this. Chasm Skulker, it's a good card, but I don't feel like I feel like it's not what we're doing with this deck. We're not like going wide. So this is a good card, and I do like growing effects like this. In fact, Mana Gorger Hydro was a huge MVP for me last night, but this goes tall, not wide, and that's part of the reason it was good for me. So I think we'll end up cutting Chasm Skulker for that reason. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Rishkar, I think, is good enough. I like that, we could give random tokens and stuff counters and make them into mana dorks. Like, the cat tokens that Joel Real makes, like, I've often found myself just sitting there with these cats on the board that I'm like, all right, I'm attacking you with a 20/20 creature, and then I have like these cats, and I'm like, I don't really care about them but I mean, that's the point of Joel Real, right? She puts a bunch of like junk on the field, and then she uses that 6 mana ability to kind of like turn them all into threats. So I forgot where I was going with this. Oh yeah, Rishkar. So the fact that Rishkar like turns those into something, I think, is a point in his favor, although I'm certainly not like tied to this. In fact, I'm gonna put it in considering. Selvala, I like. This card has been okay for me. I think it's good enough. For now, at least. I could see myself cutting this in the future. Baird. So this is a propaganda effect on a creature. I like that he has vigilance. I think propaganda effects are really, really good in this meta, so to speak. So I think he will slide by this time, but Baird, you're certainly on the chopping block. Mangara, I'm a huge fan of this card, but this is the least interested I've been in it. That being said, given that it has lifelink, I think it's good enough for now because pumping it is really effective. Colonial Hydra, I haven't drawn this yet, but it seems like a massive threat that is like a huge problem for opponents if they don't deal with it. So I'm going to keep it. Especially good with Innkeeper's Talent, notably. Enters with 8+1 counters. Pretty good. Octomancer, you've been good. You have performed adequately, but I'm not in love with you. I'm sorry. Oops, I better consider. Did I do that with any other cards? I hope not. I should have 7 in sideboard. I have 6. I think it was Rishka. Okay, move to sideboard. 7 in sideboard. Perfect. Okay. Where were we? We're here. Hydra I like. Psychosis Crawler. Maybe. It's good. I get it. Trust me. Like, I get it. I get what you're doing. We're drawing cards. Ping everyone. But, like, is it worth it? I don't know. We can give it flying. It gets big. Not sure. Like all these. Quite very much. Quite very much. It's English good. Good. Control, you're going in babies. Perch protection, you're going in babies. It's cute, but I just don't get it. I don't know how to use it. You have to keep 6 mana up. I mean, you can just cast and make 6/2/2 birds, but is that even good? I don't know. Probably gonna get cut. I already had a like hilarious play with it, like in the first game, and I ended up losing because of it. But I feel like the meme status has been fulfilled, and this can be removed now. Flexing test. You're probably okay for now. Have you guys seen that Simpsons where Homer's managing the baseball team? That's what I feel like right now. It's like, you're cut. Fine. Swiftfoot boots are good. Like that, like that. This or this. It's only 1 mana. Yeah, I like this. Hoofprints, you're terrible. Get out of here. Yeah, I really like all of these. Okay, so we have to cut 1 more card still. And this is only the maybes. Uh-oh. Alright, let's look at our curve. Curve looks wonderful. Love to see it. Maybe we can cut a 4. I don't really want to cut another land. I think 37 is a pretty good number. You know, we do have some land. Actually, I should put Lorien Revealed in considering, because that seems pretty good. I'm not going to add it this time, but I do quite love this card. In fact, we should consider like other MDFCs too. Like, I think Witch Enchanter is a good one to think about. Witch Enchanter? Seagate Restoration, too expensive. Although, if you get another free card. What else is there? Oh, the counter. That would be really good. What's that card called? Type. This card seems to just do that. Let's add that to consider. Let's get 4-drops. Yeah, this is a lot of 4-drops. I mean, it's not too bad. Baird? Are you the cut? I don't know. Yeah, screw it. You're out of here, Baird. Sorry, man. Alright, and that is it. So I'm going to play a game with this new version. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Please drop me comments if you enjoyed the video, if there's something you'd want to see more or less of, or something you just want done differently. I want your feedback. I'm desperate for your feedback. I'm new at this, so I'm just looking to improve. I want you to be getting what you want out of these videos. So let me know. Like, and even if it's just, hey, keep doing what you're doing, I'm really liking it. I love to get those comments because I'm new and I'm still learning how to do this. So no offense, I understand, and I take everything constructively. So please like the video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I hope you enjoy the game. So yeah, Matt from Surf City TCG signing off for now, but here's a game.
Yeah, I'm gonna refresh. My camera seems to be frozen.
I'll keep this hand.
Okay. 7. Alright. I'll keep. I'm gonna roll to see how many times I'll randomize.
Cool.
And do it 4 times. Alright. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Luger, you're first.
I'll work with this. So I'll draw. I'll play a forest and I'll pass.
I'll play a Stelcord Forest and an Abundant Harvest. I'll name land. I get Sunscorched under it. Gonna go Surf City.
Okay. Alright, Game Trail. Reveal Forest to play it untapped and pass.
Tap draw. I'm gonna play Plains, and then I'll tap 2, and I'll play Samwise Gamgee. And I'll pass.
Untap, upkeep, draw. Play Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. 2 for explore. Play additional land, and draw a card. I will play the Sunscorched Desert. When it enters, I'll shoot Surf City for 1. And then
Nice. Untap, keep, draw. Nice. Commercial District, ETB, I Surveil 1. I'll put this one at the bottom. Oh, no, go to the graveyard. Yeah, I forgot Scry is bottom or top.
Yeah.
Pass turn.
Tap. Draw. I'm going to play Bag End for turn.
that's Horizon Canopy, right?
Yeah. Then I will pay for 2. And I'll play Gala Greeters. And I'll make a food. And then I will pass.
I will play a Defection Tower. Or Detection Tower. Pay 2 for a Rampant Growth. Then I will pass the turn.
Paper. Little bit. Pass.
Okay. Tap, keep, draw. Play Forest. Tap for 3. Nah. Play Roughshod Duo. And I will pass turn.
Sorry. Untap. Draw. I'm going to play a Canopy Vista. It comes in untapped because I have 2 or more basic lands. And I'm going to tap 3 for an Academy Manufacturer. I got to get a
Yikes.
token.
Make 6 things.
There we go.
You make 6. 2 of each.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, I didn't have a clue token. I had to find one in my box.
Okay.
So,
Well, assuming you're choosing treasure with the readers.
So, yeah. So Samwise makes a food, so that becomes a food, a clue, and a treasure. and then Gala greeters. I'm going to choose to make a treasure. We'll make another food, another
Is anyone
clue.
else hearing his mic like wigging out?
Yeah, it's like bugged
I
out.
am.
Okay. Mogar, your mic is like going haywire.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe refresh. If you don't know about that.
Yeah, I'll refresh. Is that
Don't know yet. Sounds like maybe.
better? Hopefully that did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds better.
Bidu, you. Yeah, afraid Bidu just muted his mic.
Does that matter? I don't understand what you mean.
I'm just saying, Bidu just mute, so don't know if he'll hear us.
He can hear us if he's muted. We just can't hear him.
Yeah, yes, I can still hear you when I'm muted.
Mogar, or are you there?
What?
Yeah, I'm just I'm gonna sack two of my two treasures.
Well, hold on. Do they still come in tapped? How does that work? Because it would be tapped treasure. So are they all tapped?
Would they be?
I'll double
Oh,
check.
I honestly don't know. I forgot the Gallagher's was tapped.
I'm gonna look it up. Hang on one sec.
Yeah, you can look that up. I actually looked that up.
They change. So the Academy Manufacturer doesn't create the tokens. It just changes how the Gallic Readers creates it. So they
So
will
that's
all
all
be
of the
tapped. Yeah.
They would be tapped.
Yeah. Although
So
the
I
Gallic
can't
Reader
sacrifice.
tokens will all be tapped. So including
Okay.
the food and clue. I think it doesn't matter for the clue, but it does for the food.
It doesn't matter for the clues.
Yeah.
You don't have to say.
Well, it does if you have like improvise or something, which I'm sure his deck does.
So
You don't have to tap clues for sacrificing.
Correct.
I'll just pass then.
Okay. Untap, keep drawn. I'll play this Reliquary Tower. Pay a blue for a birthday escape. I draw a card and the ring tempts me. The ring tempts me part doesn't matter. And we will pay 5 for an Hour of Promise. I search my library for 2 lands and put them on the battlefield tapped and shuffle. Then if I control 3 or more deserts, I create 2 black zombies. So we will get... hell is the Lush Cave? Lush Oasis. Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't really hear you. What did you get?
I got Lush Oasis and Arid Archway. Arid Archway ETB, I'm gonna bounce back this snow-covered island. It wasn't a desert, so I don't surveil, and now I have 3 deserts with this, so I will make 2 zombies, and then I pass the turn.
What's the third desert?
Lush Oasis, Archway, and the Sunscorched Desert.
Gotcha. So I've never seen anyone get zombies off that card. Like everyone just plays it for the land surge. Tap up, keep draw.
Well, every card in this deck is a sorcery, so
Interesting.
the only way I get creatures is with tokens. It's your go.
Yeah, I know. I true. I'm just thinking. Alright, I'm gonna. Yeah, I'll split Commander. Play Plains to Casper. Leave the Faber Elder up. And I guess I'll send a I'll send 3 at you, Mogar.
3.
Yeah. 3/3. Vigilance. I'll pass after that.
Okay. Untap. Keep draw. Play a mountain. Hmm.
King with the Archway, Bidoof.
A3.
If you're talking.
Cast Beast
Who?
Within. I'm gonna destroy a Academy Manufacturer.
Nice.
Yep.
Thank you.
And in its
Okay.
Yep, in its place you get a 3/3 green beast token.
3/3.
Yep.
The Gallic Reader's trigger.
And I
Yeah,
will
Gallagher. I will choose to make another treasure.
and I pass after that.
Well, on your end step, I will tap 1. I'll sack a clue to draw a card.
Nice.
Cost
Wait a minute.
2 to sack a food.
And
Or cost two to sack a clue.
Yeah, clues and foods, they both
Does
cost
it?
2 to sack.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, it's a card I would have drawn for turn anyways. So
Okay.
I'll just get the clue back. Sorry, I thought for some reason I read it as 1. Uh, pay 3 for Peregrine Took. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus an additional food is created, which will make me 2 foods. And I will choose to gain 2 life with my Gallagher Readers. And then I'll sack 2 treasure, and I'll play a prize pig, which will make me 2 food. And I will I'll pass.
You're on mute.
Oops. I played a Snow-Covered Island and then blue.
Also, did you hear me before? I don't think you did your archway trigger. Ping someone last turn.
Oh, the Oasis. I'll ping Eric since you're still at 40.
Huh.
That's 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. I'll cast a Blue Sun's Twilight X being 5.
Pass priority.
So I gain control of target creature. If X is 5 or more, I create a token to copy of that creature. I'm going to target the Farber Elder.
If you do this, I'm never going to let you draw a card ever the whole game.
I need mana, so.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, I need mana, that's fine.
Yeah, but you're going to lose out on like 10 cards over the course of the game.
That's
Is it
fine.
worth it?
Yes.
All right.
Because I get 2 of them.
You got it, man.
So I have 2 Farber Elders. One of them can tap. And I have green, white, and black. We will.
They have summoning sickness.
One of them does. The other one doesn't.
No, they both do. You steal a creature, then it's new under your control. It's got summoning sickness. You can look it up if you want. But sure.
It doesn't matter. I'm not using it right now anyway. That's
Okay. So, upkeep, draw. Play no field researcher. Trigger Bumbleflower. Eric, you can draw.
Sweet, thank you.
Yep, I'll put a +1 counter on her. And then I will plus Tameo and target Miss Bumbleflower, and also you only have 1 creature, Eric?
Yeah.
It's a good shot to
Yeah.
It's got like a million blockers. guess I'll target that, the Roughshod duo. So if either of these deals combat damage before my next turn, then I draw a card.
Alright.
And I'll spend my last mana and cast Haywire Might. Trigger Bumbleflower again. Eric, you can draw again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll put another +1 on Bumbleflower, and I'll draw 2 cards. I guess that's the second time her ability has resolved this trick.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll go to combat, and I'll send 3 Commander in the air at you, Bidoof.
Sure.
On combat damage, I'll draw a card. 7 cards in hand, I'll pass.
Okay. The forest. Yeah, I think it's time we got a little help. A triple green to cast Archdruid's Charm. I choose to search my deck for a creature or land card, and if it's a land, put it on the battlefield, tap it. Otherwise, it goes to my hand.
Cool.
I'm gonna choose search for a creature. That's what I need. Nah. Someone. No. Yeah. I choose a 3-tree Root Weaver. Shuffle, let me. Grave. 5, 6, 7. Alright. Then pay a red and a green. And play 3-tree Root Weaver. Yeah, he basically he's a mana fodder creature. Tap him to add 1 of any color to my pool.
Yep.
And let's.
Other guy?
Huh?
Your other guy will trigger.
What does he do?
Your creature, when you expend 4 or something happens, right?
Yeah, but this is only the second time I expanded.
No, expend is when you spend that much total mana in the turn. So you've now expended 5.
Oh, really? That's what it does?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Dang, I never knew. Yeah, I still got a lot to learn about this deck.
Yeah, that's okay. Magic's hard. No worries.
Yeah, I'll just give it to him. Make him 1/1 and make him a 4/3 and trample till end of turn.
Actually, thought that was why you got that instead of just getting a land with your Archdruid Charm. Because normally, like, you get a land, it's like just as good as a mana dork. But in this case, like, getting that allowed you to get to the expend 5, so it was good.
Nice. Alright. Bidoof, what are your tokens, power and toughness?
These are 3 3s, and then these are I have 2 2/2s.
And Bumbleflower, she is a 3/7. And
You can attack me, I won't block.
yeah, but you let me draw cards. It wouldn't be fair.
I know,
so.
but that will let me draw cards, so I would prefer if you did that.
Oh, well then. return the favor. I'll
Thank you.
attack you for 4 with my duo.
I'll block. I'm just messing. I'll take it.
Huh?
And I'll drop for when you deal damage.
Alright. And I pass turn.
All right, I'll untap. I'll draw. I'll play Great Hall of the Citadel. And three. I'm gonna play Farmer Cotton. X is 3. So I'll get between Samwise, Peregrine, and Farmer Cotton, 3 foods, 6, 7.
Hold on.
8, 9. I get 9 more food.
You're so hard to understand. Like, everything you're saying is, like, doubling and, like, cracking. So, he enters, Samwise makes you 1 food, but Peregrine makes it 2. So that's 2 from that. And then he'll make 3
Yeah,
food and
so-
3 halflings. And then Peregrine will make 1 extra. So you'll make 6 food and 3 halfling. Is that what you said?
I think that's what I was trying to say.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood too. That's scary AF.
Yeah. I think I was burbling the words saying. So
Everything you're saying is getting doubled.
3. Really.
Yes, it's very hard to understand.
Kind of like
Well,
auto-tune with the hiccups.
Yeah. It's part of his, like, motif here. He's doubling tokens, doubling audio.
Okay.
Why don't you just finish your turn and then you can try to fix it.
All right. 3 halflings. I should be up to 12 food.
Sounds okay now, by the way. I don't know what you did, but
hopefully that continues.
I'll let you know if it sounds again.
I'm gonna gain 2 life off of one of the creatures entering from Gaia's Creators. They're gonna get another counter, and I'm gonna make a tapped treasure.
And food.
That I gotta look for. Oh, and it would make me another food, right? So 13 food. And to counter, I'm gonna go pigs. I gain life.
It's happening again.
Did not realize there was a paw print for the 1 on the Bloomburrow dice. It threw me off. I was like, that's not the 20.
You have 20 food?
13.
Jesus.
No, all the symbol, no, on the spin downs, the symbol is supposed to be the 20, but I
Yeah.
saw but it was next to the 2, and I was like, that's not supposed on. That's why I just. And again, I just. I'll pass.
Untap of keep draw. We'll play this Tangle Pool Bridge. Taps. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10, 12, 13, 14. Yeah. I'll cast a Doppelgang. X. Putting 12 in X, so X would be 4. So for each of X target permanents, I create X tokens that are copies of those permanents. So I'm going to target this snow-covered island, the slush oasis, the sun-scorched desert, and the real farmer elder. So I'll then create 4 copies of all of them. So yeah, 2 tapped farmer elders. For untapped ones, I'll have 8 total more deserts entering, and when they enter, I'll shoot you Surf City for 8. Total overviews. We get more islands. We have 5 total. 4 of them are tapped. Yeah, okay. So then I will tap 3 of these. So I have 1 remaining. And a green. I'll play a Circuitous Root. I search my library for 2 basic lands and or gate cards and put them on the battlefield tapped and shuffle. Uh-oh.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Get islands. Let's go down the there. Alright. I have 1 blue remaining. I will tap that last one for a personal tutor. I put a sorcery on top of my library. I I'll put the treason of however the hell you pronounce that on top. It puts an instant or sorcery card from my graveyard on top of my library, and then I have Mass Orcs too. And I'll pass turn.
Or the beginning of my combat, I can put a +1 counter on a creature I control on level 1.
And it's also a $30 card.
Is it?
Yep,
That's
it's
crazy.
true.
I got it when it was like 2. Cool. On cast, I'll put a +1 counter on Miss Bumbleflower. She'll get flying till end of turn.
Cool.
And I guess I'll plus Tameo, targeting Miss Bumbleflower and target your guy again, Eric. And you can draw a card, Eric.
Thank you.
And I'll put combat. And do you have any flyers or reach, Bidoof?
Does the Farber Elder have reach?
I don't believe so. No?
Then no.
Alright. I'll send 4 commander in the area.
Sure.
Actually, sorry, it's going to be 5 because the Innkeeper's Talent will give it another +1.
Cool. Take 5.
Okay. Alright, second main, I'll tap 4, or sorry, 3. Cast Viewpoint Synchronization. It's got free running, so if commander or assassin I control dealt damage this turn, it costs 3 instead of 5. So on cast, Mogar, you can draw a card, and I will draw 2 cards. Oh, I also draw 1 from Bumbleflower.
Alright.
Draw 2.
It's like a super.
Yeah, it's like a super cultivate. So I'll get forest, or no, it's going to island and a forest. So 2 of them tapped. Get 1 of those to hand. Alright, that's all I have to discard to hand size, so I'm going to do so, and then I'll pass.
Okay. All right. Untap. Upkeep. Draw. Nice. Let's see. Play another mountain. All right. Oh. 1, 2, 3. First, play my commander. Then. Then pay 1 for Lava Spur Boots. And Roughhead's duos expand. Give +1/+1 and trample to Bellow till end of turn. And I'll pay 1 to equip the Lava Spurs to Bellows. Give him +1/+0 and ward 1. Yep, yeah, and haste. And let's see. Yeah. Yeah, she's got vigilance. All right. Let's see. I'll go to combat. I'll have both Duo and Bellow come after Bidoof for a total of 8.
Do they
With
fly?
Huh? No flyers, but they do have trample.
What's on your commander?
He's a 5/4 because of Roughbound Duos. Roughhood Duos expand, giving him +1/+1 and
Cool.
trample.
I'll block it with two zombies.
All right, and so then you would take 3 or
And
6.
your commander dies.
Oh, did your zombie have death touch or?
No, there's 2 of them, which totals 4.
Oh.
Draw a card when the other guy hits.
Oh, why did I put that in the graveyard? Alright, I will pass turn after that.
Well, on your end step, I will sacrifice 3 foods to put the Academy Manufacturer back into my hand.
Ooh.
And then I will untap, draw, play a Plains, pay 3, and I'll play my enemy manager, which will make me a food, a 2 food, a clue, and a treasure. So just for entering, and then going to make a tap treasure, which will make another clue and another 2 food. And pass.
untap, upkeep, and draw. I will tap one of these for green, white, and then pay a blue and cast the Treason of whatever. So I put up to one target instant sorcery card from my graveyard on top of my library, then a Mass Works 2. I'm going to target Doppelgang. Responses?
Nope.
Doppelgang on top. I am Mass Works 2, which they are black. So, more colors. Blue. There. Okay, then I will pay another blue. Cast Preordain to scry 2, then draw a card. You will leave it like that and then draw. Alright. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's not 20 yet. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Plus 15 is 38, 37. 37, right? 37 divided by 3. So we'll do 36. Yeah, so I will tap everything just first to recast the Doppelgang. So I'm putting 30.
God smote him.
Think so.
Juve, are you there? I can't see or hear you if you're there.
I'm back. I don't know what the hell just happened, but I'm back. I'm gonna recast the Doppelgang, but I can't do math, so give me a second. So 15, 20, 25. I'm trying to see how much I need to put into it, because I have...
What's your total mana?
This is 15, 20, 25, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37 total mana.
Okay, so you can do X's 11 at most. That would be 33 for X and 2 for the others, so you'd have 2 mana left.
I will leave 2 green mana. So yeah, I'll cast Doppelgang X being 33 minus divided by 3, so 11. So up to 11 targets, or 11 targets, and I make 11 copies of each of them. Is there a response to the Doppelgang?
Nope.
Well, you have to declare your targets first.
Yeah, I'm gonna target each one of my different deserts, and I have 10 of them. For 10 of the copies, and with the last one, I will target this snow-covered island.
Sure.
Is there a response?
Response.
So 10 times 11 is a lot.
110.
Cool. I'll make 110 deserts, which whenever they enter, it pings something. Or pings in a bubble.
How much
Uh,
are you doing to everyone?
So 100. I'll deal 27 to you, Surf City. I'll do 39 to Eric. Red. 110 minus 110 minus 27.
45 left, I think. Yeah,
39.
80.
44. So yeah, I'll deal the last 44 to Logan.
All right, I'll respond.
All right, I will. Okay, yeah,
Hold on, I'm first. I'll Swords of
yeah.
Plowshares my Haywire Might,
Sure.
and Eric, you can draw.
Thanks.
That'll get exiled, and I'll gain 1. All right, pass priority.
Cool.
Eric, you have anything?
Nope, I'm dead.
All right, go ahead, Margaret.
I will tap 3, 3, and sack. Shit. And sack my 3 treasures to sacrifice 3 food
Your food costs 2 to
and
sack.
gain 9 life.
Yeah, he tapped 3 and sacked 3
I
treasures.
did.
Okay. Sure.
So I'll go 50.
Yep. And you take 44.
So
Also made 11 items.
I'm alive!
You are. You're alive at 1. These
I took
are
44, right?
yeah, dealt 44 to you, so you're at 6.
You gain 9. Yeah, 6.
Okay. So then um I will I mean because you can't I will actually your commander is flying now, doesn't it?
Me? Not at the moment. Oh, actually, yeah,
You
it
cast the
does right
spell,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll cast Pick or Poison, choosing that each opponent sack a creature with flying. Uh, then I will pass the turn. And organize my board state again. And 11.
What is on your board? Like, what do you have in terms of creatures?
In terms of creatures, I have a 2/2 orc army, and then all of the Farber Elders are attacked. Which I have 6
How many? How many Faber Alders do you have?
6.
6. Mulgar, can you actually do anything, or does your deck just spin wheels?
I can do something.
I have a lot of lands.
Yeah, I saw that.
I can deal with all of his creatures. I
Let's
think.
I have 7.
What are the power of your creatures?
A 2/2 and 6 3/3s.
Yeah, I can destroy all of his creatures.
Cool. Doesn't matter.
I will play Glen Alendra Archmage. Um, I'll cast a Nadu Winged Wisdom. I'll plus, yeah, I'll plus Tamio to target both of my creatures, which will trigger Nadu for each of them. So I will reveal a top. If it's a land, it comes to the battlefield. Otherwise, I draw. So
Is Nadu your secret commander?
no, this is just a precon that like I've upgraded a little bit. It's really good in this commander though.
Yeah, because you
Pick
can
your
target.
poison and Omni of Whispered Hopes. That sucks. Hoping for a land. Alright. I'll go to combat. Innkeeper's Talent will trigger, and I'll put a +1 counter on Nadu. And
That
he'll
targets him.
trigger again, yeah. So I'll flip. It's obnoxious. Alright, I'll play this shitty tap land, which is really bad for me right now, and I will pass. Discard to hand size.
Untap. Draw.
The power of only sorceries. This is why I play a lot of deserts, because I just make a shit ton of copies of them.
Yeah, it's a cool deck. I just wish the other players were doing anything. No offense, but
None taken. We all wish that.
but Mogar's about to do something big.
This is probably the most lush oases you ever seen.
It is. You do have that honor.
So I have
The
16.
problem is,
What's
the problem is, if I destroy all the creatures, I can't really deal that much damage.
Mm-hmm.
I could
Yeah,
deal
that is the problem.
3, 4, 5, like 5 damage.
You should also put yourself at 1.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I'm not sure. I don't know what you have or what's in your deck, so do what you think is best for your chances to win. You don't need to save me. It's not your responsibility.
All right.
I just need one more desert.
Tap 4. And I'm going to play Lathel, the Boundless Dawn.
Unicorn?
Yeah, oh, looks like my screen froze. Give me.
What's the name of the card he casted?
Lathiel. Lathiel.
Okay, cool. I got it. Oh, it's the unicorn. Cool.
Give me my
Then kill it and drink its blood.
line. Uh, oh, I get 2 foods and a glue. The treasure. So I go to.
Can you target my stuff in any way? That would be helpful.
Yeah. I could target it with
Ooh,
exile
Lathiel?
effects.
With Lathiel too. That would be sweet.
Oh yeah, I could.
If you could,
I
that
could
would
give
be
them
awesome. You don't have to, but
yeah, I could
I
give
would love you. I
them
would love you
I could give
forever.
them +1/+1 counters. What do you want counters on?
Everything and anything that you're willing. I just get triggers for Nadu for each one. So whatever
Well,
you want, whatever you can spare, I will take.
so if I put three,
Yeah,
if I could put three +1/+1 counters on it,
that would be good. I would get 3 Nadu triggers.
I'll do that. I'll tap 2 food, tap 2 lands to sack a food. I'll gain 3 life. And then I will go to my end step. Latho will trigger. I'll put 3 +1/+1 counters on Nadu.
No, you have to do 1 on each. Or actually, wait, I only have 2 creatures.
Oh, one each.
Yeah, thank you.
Well,
Yeah,
then I will put a counter on your creatures, and then I'll put one on.
No idea what you said, but okay. Thank you.
You put 1 on each of your creatures and 1 on the unicorn.
Hey, it's a land.
Woo.
Preordained.
Because you only had creatures.
Thank you. Now it's over. Do your
Good.
worst.
I have a lot of islands.
Oh. Price of Progress. Do you guys know that card?
I'm not in red.
I know, but it would be hilarious right now.
It would.
Do like 200 damage to you?
Yeah.
11. So it's 16 times 16 is or plus 16. It's 32, right? 16 plus 16.
Yeah.
So 32, 33,
It's 32.
36, 37. 37 times 2 is a lot.
4.
Alright. Well, I will tap this for 2 and
Done?
island. No, I'm gonna cast Time Twister.
Time Twister.
Yeah, each player shuffles their hand and graveyard into their deck and draws 7.
Is that real?
It is.
Wow. That's crazy.
I'm not gonna take it out of the inner sleep, but yes, it's real.
Sure.
This will then go to myself. I have no other cards in hand. This was a really good top deck. You had mana open, so I was really hoping to have a counter spell.
I mean, I had a counter spell on board, but I don't want to counter that.
Did Bloomburrow give us any more good counter spells?
I mean, like, there's tons of good counter spells already. Do you need more?
Yeah, bro,
But-
EDH.
I mean, are you running regular counter spell?
I cannot because everything in this deck is a sorcery.
Well, I don't think there are many sorcery speed counter spells. It doesn't tend to work very well.
Hey, technically, The madness counterspell for the secret lair says sorcery.
Interesting.
um. I can gain control of you. How many creatures are on the board?
What was the question?
How many creatures are on the board?
1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I have 11.
You have 11?
2. I guess he lost. That's a shame.
I keep doing that.
If you do it once more, you're disqualified.
I keep it in the back arrow on my mouse. Okay, so you said 11 and you have 2, so 13 in total.
You have 6, don't you?
Okay, I have 7
7.
in total.
So that's 20. Vanquish the Horde?
No.
Come on.
I'm white. Yeah. So I'll tap 7 of you. So 16 minus 7. Can't do that. 9. Cool. I'll cast Blue Sun's Twilight X being 5. Targeting Nadu.
Okay. Response. Well, first Nado will trigger. So,
Yes.
right? Target. Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever it
I
comes.
didn't
Whenever
realize
it
it was on opponent stuff too. It's so broken. Okay. Nado trigger. Ugh. Swiftfoot boots to hand. And then I'll respond. You have Yavimaya, correct?
I do.
Okay, so I'll tap Evolving Wilds for green, and 2 more. I'll cast a Frantic Search. Never has it been more apt a card name.
Okay.
I will draw
What are you
2.
frantically searching for?
I don't know, anything.
Anything?
Draw 2. Not land, that's for sure. Discard 2. Actually, hold on. My god, someone's dying. Discard 2. And tap 3 lands. Alright, well, that is all I can do. So, I guess I'll stack Glenelendra Archmage and counter that.
Sure.
And then it'll
Sad.
enter with a
I don't get it.
-1 counter.
Okay. Let's then pay 7 more. I have 2 untapped. I'll cast Blatant Thievery. Also targeting Nadu. For each opponent, I gain control of target permanent that player controls. I'm gonna target Nadu and the Samwise game.
Okay. Nadu trigger on cast. Oh. Alright, I will counter that also.
Sure. Then. Okay, so blue, and tap 2 of these for blue. I'm running out of dice. So 1. Oh, you counted it. So, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. 28 times 2 is 14. So minus 2 would make it 13. You guys only have a total of 12 creatures now, right? So I will tap all but 4 of these. So that's yeah. So or 16, 17, 18, 19, 4 plus 5, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. I need. Math is hard.
You should probably just pass and think about it.
No, you're gonna sit here with me and do it. So that's okay. So it should be a 2, not a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Plus 6 is 20, 25, 26. Perfect. I'll cast a mass manipulation, put in 26 into X, so it'd be 13. So I gain control of X target creatures and or planeswalkers, and X is 13. Cool. I'll target every creature you guys have and your planeswalker.
You can take a planeswalker?
Yeah, creature or planeswalker.
Oh, fun.
It's at 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I'm just gonna scoop if you're just fucking with us, clearly.
No, I am. I'm just gonna go to combat and swing.
Alright. Good game.
GG.
GG.